Good morning, grade 11. How are you today? Today, inshallah, we will continue talking about narrative verbs. I'm going to send pictures for the explanation, and the video as well is really helpful for you in order to understand the structures and the forms of narrative verbs. We said that when we want to describe events in the past, we can use three structures, either past simple, past continuous, and past perfect. Now, we use the past simple simply and briefly to talk about main events in the story, and those events are actually completed, and sometimes we have sequence of events. For example, when she opened or when she said goodbye to her family, she opened the door, this is the first one, and she drove away. We also said that we can use the past simple when we talk about specific action in the past, and basically the atmosphere of this action is completed and finished. Sarah finished her study in 1977. We also talked about past continuous, and we said that we use it for repeated actions, and the actions are unfinished, unlike past simple. Yani, for example, I was working on my project for a month. The structure subject was where مع verb ing. Okay. We also talked about the interruption between the past continuous and past simple. The longer action is the past continuous by saying the young man was driving his car, and then something else happened, and it actually happens suddenly, and it interrupts the first action when he saw the accident. So the young man was driving his car when he saw the accident. We also talked about past perfect, and we said that the structure of past perfect is subject plus had plus verb 3. And in most cases we use the keyword after with past perfect, and we use it to talk about two actions in the past. The past perfect happened first. It happened before the simple past action. For example, after he had traveled to France, he visited USA. So after he had visited, or after he had traveled to France, this is the first action. And the second action, he visited USA. And both of them actually happened in the past. Now, let's go to your student book. We have an exercise 5, narrative tenses, student book, page 65. Here you need to choose the right answer, either present, either past simple, past continuous, or past perfect. So, let's do number 2. Louis Braille first saw the system of dots when an officer in the military in France was visiting or had visited the Royal Institute of the Blind. Here actually we have two actions. One is continuous, was visiting. Okay, this is the longer action. And then Braille saw the system of dots. So the right answer is was visiting، لأن هدول two actions are connected to each other. وفي continuity بالموضوع. He was visiting the Royal Institute of the Blind. Number 3. This method of communication was catching or caught the attention of Louis Braille, a young man. This method of communication caught the attention of Louis. Why? Because this action is completed. It caught his attention. Okay? When a young man who studied, was studying at the institute, he was studying. Why? Because this action is continuous. There is a continuity in his studying. يعني كان لسه عم يدرس. Okay? لما هذا ال communication أو المethod caught his attention. في استمرارية studying. He was studying. After focus, many years of work, Louis Braille was improving ولا had improved and completed the system. Of course he had improved and completed the system because this action happened first. And we have actually after. By 1868, blind people all over the world had used ولا were using Braille every day. طبعا هذا الأكشن is unfinished لأنه until this moment blind people are still using the system every day. So the action here is unfinished. That's why we use past continuous. Let's move to number 6. Read the following text about an organization which distributes the Holy Quran in Braille system. يعني الهولي قرآن موجود على البريل system. يعني blind people can read it. Put the verbs from 1 to E in the correct form. Past simple, past perfect, or past continuous. Now, let's look at the first one. Muhammad Balo, work as a flight attendant when. So here I need to use what? The past continuous. He was doing this action. He was working as a flight attendant when his vision, and then here something suddenly happened and it actually interrupted the longer action. What happened to him? His vision started to get worse. So مثل فكرة I was working on my project when he rang me. He was working as a flight attendant when his vision started to get worse. Interruption. He had to take early retirement from his job. يعني he had to stop working. Because his vision started to get worse. يعني he is going to be blind. As a flight attendant at Saudi Arabian Airlines, where he for 13 years. This action actually happens the first thing in his life. He had worked بهاي الانستيتيوت اللي هي السعودي Arabian Airline قديش for 13 years. So he had worked for 13 years. During this time, the meals for the blind project. طبعا هذا الأكشن is completed. He established the meals for the blind project, which became famous in 1992. Muhammad B is derived into was and where, and in this case we use was because Muhammad is singular. He was worried about the lack of provision for people with low vision and other sight disabilities. So he decided to start a center for vision rehabilitation in Jeddah. يعني this institute that he actually established, it was for vision rehabilitation, يعني to help people who are blind. The center services were set up in 2002 after Muhammad, لازم يجي وراها past perfect, had received funding from different organizations. While Muhammad, وطبعا مع while I use past continuous, was, were مع verb ing. Muhammad was sitting up, double T and add ing, his center. Ibsar, Lighthouse International trained 6 professionals to be ready to rehabilitate people with low vision. After Ibsar had been, شايفين after معاها past perfect, formally recognized Muhammad to set up other projects. So this action happens first, and then you should have past simple. Muhammad began to set up other projects. after إبصار had been formally recognized had the first action in the past. إيش another action? Muhammad began to set up other projects, one of which was the distribution of the Holy Quran in Braille format throughout the Arab world. Thank you so much.